Even with all their training and careful planning, the divers faced unexpected dangers that led to tragedy, showing just how risky cave diving can be. Imagine slipping through a small hole in a frozen lake, entering a narrow, dark passage full of icy water and descending over 400 feet or 120 meters. This is what 5 brave cave divers did in February 2014. Everything started fine, but a series of events changed everything in an instant. With their friends' lives at risk, the divers had to make every tough decisions. This is the scary story of the Plur cave disaster. Kai Cannon, a well-known Finnish diver, started diving at local quarries but faced his first tragedy in 2013 while diving with a close friend. Soon after they entered the water, Kai saw his friend wasn't moving and his regulator had been fallen out. Despite trying to save him and calling for help, his friend died. It turned out his friend had forgotten to open the oxygen valve on his rebreather. Heartbroken by the incident, Kai wanted to quit cave diving but couldn't leave his passion. A few months later, he went diving again with friends Patrick's Risk, Jari Rinnan, and Vesa Rinnan. They planned a very dangerous and challenging dive, Norway's Plur Cave Complex. Norway's Plur River starts in Lake Sinnet and flows through the beautiful Plur Valley. It is Northern Europe's largest water-filled natural cave. In early 2014, Kai and 4 other divers planned an epic dive there. The team included 42-year-old fireman Patrick, 40-year-old production manager Jari, and 34-year-old mechanical engineer Ered Yaru. All were experienced cave divers and technical divers. Their goal was to dive more than 320 feet below the surface of Plur River. Kai and Jari had set an unofficial Finnish record a few years earlier by diving 688 feet in the Halalau quarry. Kai and Patrick had previously crossed the passage connecting the Plur cave's 2 entrances. This time, they planned to do it in the opposite direction. On February the 5th, 2014, the men started their journey, which included a road trip through Finland, Sweden, and Norway. The roads were slippery and dangerous, but they arrived at 4 Brew Farm early on February the 6th. They carefully prepared their gear so it wouldn't freeze solid overnight. The divers decided to sleep in until 8 a.m. to get enough rest. The plan was to break into 2 groups with start times 2 hours apart. This would allow the sediment stirred up by the first group to settle before the second group entered and enable one group to help the other if needed. The first group included Patrick and Jari H, with Kai, Vesa, and Yaru following later. On the morning of February the 6th, Patrick and Jari H cut a hole in the ice-covered lake, finding the water so clear that they could see the rocky bottom nearly 60 feet down. The divers were in good spirits despite getting a late start. They started their underwater scooters and began descending toward the entrance of the submerged cave. The underwater scooters, essential for converting energy and moving quickly, allowed the divers to cover more ground. They also used closed-circuit rebreathers, which recirculate exhaled gases unlike traditional open-circuit equipment. However, closed-circuit systems, while extending dive times, are more complex and can malfunction. As Patrick and Jari H went through the cave, they came to a narrow part with a sharp turn. Patrick went first but lost sight of Jari. When he looked back, he saw Yari's headlamp moving wildly, showing he was in trouble. Yari's scooter cord was stuck in the crack and was struggling. Patrick freed Jari, but this delay was bad. Jari got more stressed. He switched between his rebreather and backup, but this regulator fell out. Patrick tried to help, but Jari breathed in a lot of cold water and died. Now, Patrick had a long way up and realized he was in danger too. His dive computer showed it would have taken over 400 minutes to ascend, much longer than expected. Patrick knew he couldn't just swim to the surface. He had to follow the dive computer's ascent schedule to avoid deadly decompression sickness. He also had less oxygen after sharing his supply with Yari. As he began his slow ascent, he worried about what would happen to the other divers when they encountered Yari's body blocking the path. Meanwhile, Kai, Vesa, and Yaru began their dive. They found Yari's H's lifeless body and had to remove their gear to squeeze past him, adding their already long dive time. As they progressed, Vesa's fin got tangled in the guideline, further delaying them. Then, Kai noticed Yaru swimming strangely and switching between his rebreather and open circuit system. Yaru eventually became lifeless, and Kai realized he had to save himself. Kai continued the dive, navigating the narrow passages and dealing with the effects of nitrogen narcosis, which impairs judgment and motor skills. Despite the pressure, he focused on swimming the ascent. Back on the surface, rescuers were unaware of the tragedy unfolding below. When Kai finally surfaced, he was alone. The rescue operation to recover the bodies in Yari H and Yaru was dangerous and complex. Divers faced similar risk and had to make multiple divers to retrieve their friends. The entire ordeal highlighted the extreme dangers of cave diving and the importance of careful planning and preparation. Yaru was 34 years old and worked as a mechanical engineer. He was an experienced cave diver and very skilled at technical diving. Yaru was part of the Finnish team diving in the Plur cave in Norway. He was known for being calm and technically skilled, making him a valuable team member. Sadly, Yaru had problems with his breathing equipment during the dive and did not survive. Yari H was 40 years old and worked as a production manager. Like Yaru, he was a certified and experienced cave diver. He had dived with Kai before he was in the first group to enter the Plur cave. Yari H got into trouble when his scooter cord got stuck. Even with Patrick's help, Yari H had issues with his breathing equipment, inhaled cold cave water, and died. His death was a huge loss for the team and showed just how dangerous cave diving can be. The Plur cave disaster is a great reminder of the dangers of extreme diving. It shows the need for strict safety protocols and the importance of being ready for the unexpected. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more gripping tales of adventures and survival. What do you think are the most important precautions to take when engaging in extreme sports like cave diving? Share your thoughts and any personal experiences in the comments below, and let us know what other stories you'd like to hear. Thank you for watching and stay safe out there. Have you ever heard of a hidden room that nobody dares to enter? Meet Gregory Wilhelm, a man whose life changed because he loves adventure and nature. Gregory's story is about passion, strength, and exploring. The discovery of Gregory Wilhelm's body in a Wanana cave revealed an unexpected twist. Early life and love for nature. 33-year-old Gregory Wilhelm hailed from the small town of Novato, California. He discovered a deep-seated love for nature at a young age through the Boy Scouts. This early exposure to the great outdoors ignited a lifelong passion, filling him with a sense of wonder and respect for the environment that stayed with him until adulthood. Gregory's experience in the Reserve Officer Training Corps affected his life by imposing strong discipline that became a pillar of his personality. His educational journey through Pleasant Valley, Koloa, and San Marin high schools wasn't all about academics. Greg made many friends and was one of the most popular kids in school. However, his wide social circle exposed him to activities that eventually led him down a troubling path. Greg got mixed up with the wrong people and started doing risky things. Realizing this was bad,
he went to Sobriety High School in San Rafael. He joined the 12-step program and found people who helped him along. Greg looks back on the time with thanks, knowing it was a big accomplishment for him. Deepening bond with nature. Greg's bond with nature only deepened with time. He spent countless hours exploring the majestic landscapes of Yosemite National Park. Its serene trails and breathtaking vistas filled him with peace and a profound connection to the world, steering him away from his past destructive habits. Greg's passion wasn't limited to the natural world. He was equally fascinated by sustainable technology, reflecting his commitment to a sustainable future. His enthusiasm for solar electrical systems and the sleek design of the Tesla S3 was more than just an interest. It was a cause close to his heart. In pursuit of this passion, Greg founded Greenholing, a company embodying his innovative spirit and ethical values. This venture wasn't just a business for him. It was a mission to make a difference in the world. His motto, "Principles before profit," was a guiding philosophy he lived by. A newfound interest in diving. While working on his business, Greg met people interested in diving. Fascinated by the sport, he quickly developed a keen interest in it. The idea of exploring underwater worlds that most people would never see was thrilling to him, akin to exploring another planet. Greg's aspirations evolved and he set his sights on cave diving. He was captivated by stories surrounding the mysterious depths of Maui's coast, particularly the enigmatic Wanana caves. To him, these narratives were not just folklore, but sources of deep fascination. Exploring the Wanana caves. The legend of Wanana Caves spoke of a concealed underwater passage. Once, a Hawaiian princess named Pop Alia fled for her cruel husband, the chief Kakai, and hid in these caves. The chief discovered her hiding place and killed her. At certain times of the year, tiny red shrimp appear in the pool, turning the water red, a reminder of the slain prince's blood. Greg's fascination with this legend led him to the Wanana to explore the cave. His initial visit was a reconnaissance mission. He didn't venture too far. However, the prospect of discovering an unknown cavern in the complex cave network transformed his interest into an obsession. Wanana State Park, located in the isolated village of Hana on Maui, presents a pristine yet perilous natural environment. The remote location, hazardous road to Hana, and powerful ocean currents make the area extremely dangerous. Despite its beauty, the park is fraught with risks, including treacherous hikes, violent blowholes, and deadly ocean caves. Greg's preparation and the fateful dive. Aware of the dangers, Greg meticulously prepared for his exploration. He sought insights from the expert cave explorers and ensured he had all the necessary equipment. On January 29, 2017, Greg and his friends stood at the brink of the Pacific Ocean, ready to embark on their adventure on the Wanana State Park. Greg was filled with a sense of awe and anticipation as he guided his group, which included 3 friends, 1 male and 2 females. They were all seasoned adventurers, accustomed to climbing and exploring together. They walked through the park to a swimming hole. The water was crystal clear and inviting. They all jumped in, joking and laughing as their voices echoed off the cave walls. Conclusion: Gregory Wilhelm's story is a testament to the human spirit's thirst for adventure and the lengths one will go to uncover the unknown. His journey from a troubled youth to a passionate explorer and interpreter is inspiring. However, his tale also serves as a stark reminder of the dangers inherent in pushing the boundaries of exploration. If you found Greg's story as fascinating and cautionary as we did, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below on what you think about cave diving and if you ever attempt such a daring exploration. And remember, always respect nature and stay safe. Thank you for watching.
Have you ever wondered what could go wrong in a cave diving expedition? Imagine a group of 8 divers, 2 of them brothers, another their sister, and a cousin. All of them expert scuba divers, filled with excitement and confidence, ready for a day of diving in the Shaft Sinkhole in Mount Gambier, Australia, with a different ending than expected. This wasn't just an outing, it was a thrilling adventure, a chance to explore the mysteries that lay beneath the surface of the water. Cave diving is a unique blend of thrill and danger, a dance on the edge of the unknown. It draws you in with its allure, its promise of untouched realms and the echo of silent, submerged history. But it also holds an unspoken warning. The natural world, for all its beauty, can also be unpredictable and merciless. And so, these divers, buzzing with anticipation, plunged into the depths, unaware of the harrowing ordeal that awaited them. But what started as an exciting adventure soon turned into a race against time. The Shaft Sinkhole. The Shaft Sinkhole in Mount Gambier, Australia, a popular yet perilous destination for divers. This sinkhole, a natural geological formation, is a marvel of nature's architecture, an underwater labyrinth that inspires awe and trepidation in equal measure. Its beauty is undeniable, but so is its treacherous nature. The Shaft Sinkhole is known for its narrow tunnels extending deep into the earth, presenting a challenge even to the most experienced divers. The depth of this sinkhole, combined with its labyrinthine structure, results in a darkness that can be as thick and disorienting as a moonless night. The risks associated with the shaft are numerous. The narrow tunnels can become a trap, the darkness can disorient, and the depth can lead to decompression sickness if not managed correctly. Despite these risks, the allure of exploring this underwater maze proves irresistible to many. Unaware of the impending doom, the divers plunged into the sinkhole. Their adventure was about to take a tragic turn. The unfortunate turn of events. Everything was going according to plan until it wasn't. The divers, 8 in total, were deep within the confines of the Shaft Sinkhole. As they swam through the labyrinthine tunnels, the darkness of the cave swallowed up their light, and the maze-like structure of the sinkhole began to confound even the most experienced among them. The thrill of exploration turned into a chilling sense of dread. They were lost. Time seemed to warp and twist as the divers navigated through the intricate network of tunnels, each one looking eerily similar to the last. They were trapped in a cyclical nightmare, a repeating pattern of rock and water, as their compasses spun in disarray. The cave was playing tricks on their minds, and their confidence began to waver. As the minutes ticked by, a new, terrifying reality began to take shape. Their air supply, once abundant, was now dwindling at an alarming rate. Each breath became a calculated decision, each movement a desperate attempt to conserve the life-giving oxygen in their tanks. The rhythm of their breaths echoed in their ears, a constant reminder of the ticking clock. Panic began to set in, creeping into their minds like a stealthy predator. The divers were seasoned professionals, trained to handle stress and pressure, but nothing could prepare them for the fear that loomed in the dark water around them. The frigid cold of the cave, once just an uncomfortable nuisance, now felt like an icy grip tightening around their hearts. With each passing second, their situation became increasingly dire. The labyrinth of tunnels offered no way out, and the weight of the water pressing against them seemed to grow heavier with each moment. The once vibrant and exciting adventure had turned into a grim struggle for survival. The echoes of their own breaths grew fainter, the taste of fear more poignant. Their strength was fading, their hopes dwindling. With only 4 minutes of air left, their fate was hanging by a thread. The rescue operation. Time was running out, and every second counted. The rescue operation was now a race against the clock. Expert divers from the local area were quickly notified and began the harrowing task of navigating the Shaft Sinkhole's labyrinthine tunnels. The tension was palpable, each tick of the clock echoing the dwindling air supply of the trapped divers. The rescuers, although seasoned professionals, faced immense challenges. The shaft was notorious for its narrow and complex tunnel system. The close confines meant they had to maneuver with extreme precision to avoid stirring up the silt, which could drastically reduce visibility and complicate the operation further. The rescuers also had to grapple with the eerie reality of the diminishing air supply. Each passing minute meant less air for the trapped divers, and the rescuers knew all too well that in cave diving, when air runs out, so does the luck. The challenges did not deter the brave divers. With sheer grit and determination, they plunged into the murky waters, armed with their knowledge and the hope of bringing their fellow divers back to the surface. The rescue operation was a test of endurance, skill, and courage, a testament to the human spirit's resilience when faced with adversity. Every inch they moved forward, every obstacle they overcame brought them closer to the trapped divers. The rescuers battled against the unforgiving environment, the ticking clock, and their own fears in a desperate bid to reach those in peril. Despite the harrowing conditions, the rescuers managed to locate and bring some of the divers to safety. However, the rescue operation was not without its share of heartbreak. As the last of the rescue divers emerged from the shaft, it became clear that not everyone had been saved. In the face of such adversity, the rescuers had given it their all. Their bravery and commitment were commendable, a beacon of hope amidst the despair, yet the harsh reality of cave diving had claimed its victims. Despite their best efforts, the rescue team could not save everyone. The aftermath. The aftermath of the tragedy was heart-wrenching. As the dust settled and the shockwaves subsided, the stark reality began to sink in. The loss was profound. The ripples of grief spread far and wide, touching not only the immediate families of the divers, but also the tight-knit community of Mount Gambier and the global diving community. The once vibrant lives were reduced to memories, their laughter echoing in the silence. The families mourned, their tears falling like rain, their hearts weighed down by the immense loss. The friends, forever marked by the tragedy, carried the heavy burden of survivors' guilt. But from the depths of despair, lessons were gleaned. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking beneath the surface, the perils of venturing into the unknown. The diving community globally reflected on the incident, reevaluating safety measures, reinforcing the importance of preparation and respect for the unpredictability of nature. One can never underestimate the power of nature, nor overestimate one's ability to conquer it. Cave diving, an enchanting yet perilous adventure. Amidst the mesmerizing underwater beauty lies a world of danger, a delicate dance with limited oxygen. You may wonder, can that cause a life? Well, that's what went down in Kalimba Cave. 4 adventurers went in, craving beauty, but only 2 emerged, carrying an unforgettable burden, leaving their 2 friends behind forever. Cave divers lost deep underground, the Kalimba Cave tragedy. Cave diving is an exhilarating yet perilous underwater adventure, distinct from regular scuba diving due to the unique challenge it presents. Special training and gear are essential, and strict safety rules must be followed because in the dark and intricate caves, the risk of getting lost is ever present. Apart from all these problems, one thing that can change everything is the fate. If you don't believe it, then the ill-fated dive in the Kalimba Cave involved a group of 4 experienced divers, each bringing a wealth of expertise to the expedition. Leading the team were the husband and wife duo, Gene and Bill Downing, seasoned cave divers with over 300 dives and nearly 30 years of certification. Alongside them were their close friends, Kent Hirsch, boasting 125 dives, and Michael Nast, with 75 dives under his belt. This tight-knit group had honed their diving skills together for years and ventured to Mexico to explore the extensive Sakaktoon system in the snow day of the Kalimba Cave. Grouped due to similar gas consumption rates, they embarked on the expedition with a thorough plan, matching experience and an understanding of the risks inherent in cave diving. The planned cave route in the Kalimba Cave was a bit complex, and the plan was like this. Beginning with the Columbia Main Line, divers will embark on a perilous journey, navigating short connecting jump lines, then progressing through the main Paso Delicato line, and finally to the main Boss Gen line. These interconnected passages demanded meticulous navigation through tight restrictions, forcing divers to maneuver with deliberate precision, each turn and jump adding to the mounting challenge. The dive's organization was meticulous. Team 1, under the guidance of a professional, strategically placed markers known as cookies along the route. However, in this submerged world of uncertainty, these markers serve not only as a guide, but also as a communication system between Team 1 and Team 2, a lifeline in the submerged darkness. Team 2, consisting of Gene, Bill, Hirsch, and Nast, followed the replicated route of Team 1, fully aware of the anticipated turnaround point based on projected air consumption. The tension was palpable as each member carried meticulously filled tanks, knowing their journey's success hinged on these pressurized containers. The protocol of consuming only 1/3 of the tank's air on the way in left little room for error, with another third designated for the return journey and the final third reserved for the unforeseen emergencies that lurked in the cavern's shadows. As the dive began, Team 1 descended into the watery darkness, placing cookies to guide Team 2 along their planned route. The journey unfolded as expected until Team 1 reached the boss gen line, where they discovered that Team 2 had already passed, adhering to the protocol of removing markers. Upon resurfacing after 99 minutes, what felt like an eternity, there was an eerie absence. No Team 2 in sight. Panic set in, a frantic search began, extending even to a desperate drive to another potential exit point, Grant's annotated. Yet silence greeted them, no trace of the 4 divers. With each passing minute, the knot of anxiety tightened. 30 agonizing minutes later, the realization struck. Team 2 might be running out of air. Then, like a suspenseful twist, bubbles broke the surface and 2 figures emerged. The tension reached its peak as Team 2 defied the odds and surfaced, bringing a mix of relief and lingering questions about the harrowing moments deep below. What happened? The journey for Team 2 had begun smoothly as they marveled at the cave's serene beauty, capturing the moment with underwater photography. Negotiating tight restrictions with ease, they reached the end of the Columbia line, jumped to the Paso Delicato, and finally arrived at the Boss Gen line. Michael, diligently monitoring air pressure, signaled the need to turn back, initiating the removal of the Boss Gen cookie. However, a navigation error unfolded inexplicably. Instead of making the planned right turn at the main Paso line, all 4 divers veered left. Unaware of their deviation, they swam an astonishing 1,400 feet, far beyond the expected distance, realizing their grave mistake only when their intended exit seemed unreachable. Separated from their intended exit by nearly 3,000 feet, the divers found themselves at the end of the Paso main line. Aware of the long jump to the Gran San Note main line, Ken connected his safety line and embarked on a desperate search. With a 70-foot gap to traverse, he placed his trust in the hope that the passage would reveal itself. Swimming for several minutes, his safety line abruptly halted, falling short of the required distance. Realizing the urgency as time dwindled, Ken faced a critical decision. Glancing at his pressure gauge, he understood the need for swift action. Returning to the Paso main line, he could barely discern the distant lights of his companions swimming away. They had left him stranded. Feeling a sense of frantic urgency, he swam after them until catching up with the group. Meanwhile, Michael had made a pivotal decision. Observing the declining air levels and making a quick calculation, he recognized the necessity of an immediate retreat. The underwater tunnels, while captivating, offered no pockets of air, leaving them entirely dependent on their tanks. Michael's departure, unseen by Ken for several minutes, prompted the group to backtrack, following Michael back towards the known path. After a tense 25 minutes of swimming, they successfully found the jump, returning to the main Kalimba line heading toward the open air. With only 200 psi left in his air tank, Bill sensed the diminishing air with each breath. In a desperate move, he and Jean began sharing air using the emergency extra mouthpiece attached to her tanks. Navigating through tight restrictions, Bill had to wait as Jean squeezed through, holding his breath and working through the restriction himself. The lifeline of air quickly located, they moved carefully together, slowing their exertion as they were still 15 minutes from the exit. Meanwhile, Michael, ahead of them, had slowed to a near stop. In desperation, Michael sought help upon realizing his dwindling air supply. But seeing Bill and Gene already sharing their gas, he left feeling hopeless. As the light from Kent emerged in the tunnel, gave hope. Kent, a loyal friend, gave Michael his emergency mouthpiece and tried to calm him to preserve the remaining air. Despite having the least cave diving experience, Michael and Kent pressed on down the Kalimba line, hoping their air would stretch the last 1,000 feet of swimming. When Gene and Bill finally surfaced, they had less than 500 psi in Gene's tank, which would have been depleted in just a few more minutes. Had they waited for Ken at the end of Paso Delgado, they might have run out of air just feet from the exit. They informed the guide and others about seeing lights from Kent and Michael behind them, believing they weren't too far away. The guide and a few divers entered the tunnel, hopeful to provide their own extra mouthpieces if needed. Just 250 feet inside, they spotted lights in the tunnel, but the heartbreaking realization struck. Both men had drowned just 5 minutes from the exit. Without willing, they lost their lives doing what they loved.